Hey, 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 mamas, and welcome to Mom's Mouthing Off podcast with Christina and Diane. Join us as we talk about all things kids, marriage, and everyday adulting in a judgment-free zone. Because let's face it, this shit is hard.
And came with no instructions. So trying to keep it all together can seem near impossible. Here, we'll share our shit show stories in hopes that you find comfort in knowing you're not alone and that we all have those moments that just make you want to say, "What the fuck?"
Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back to another episode of Mom's Mouthing Off podcast.
Yeah.
With your hosts, Christina and
Diane.
I'm Christina, 2 kids, boy 8 and girl 6.
And I am Diane with 2 boys, 6 and 8.
Awesome. All right, Diane, how was your week?
Well.
Slow down a little
Where
bit.
do I start? Well, actually, before I do get into my week, let's recap last week. I had mentioned, I think it was my WTF moment of finding cheese.
Yes, the cheese shoe.
The cheese shoe, which he totally grinned at, and he was like, "Yep, that's what I did, Mom. I put
Score
cheese
1 to me
in my shoe." So I decided, I was like, I wonder how many other random things moms have found. I was just curious that night.
Right.
So I had posted on a group, like, "Hey, this is what happened to me. What happened to you?" And, and we got so many responses. Well, I got so many responses because it was on a group,
right?
Of what other moms have found, crazy shit.
Let's hear it. Or what were some of the top answers?
Yes. So there was a bunch, and they were all good. Every single one were good, but some of these stood out. One was a hermit crab 4 years later.
Gross. How do you not really smell that thing?
I found my son's pet frog that disappeared in my winter boot a year later.
Oh, dear
Imagine,
Lord.
I would freak. The boot would be in the garbage. I wouldn't even.
For
hell
sure.
no.
And did they put their foot in it to find the...
Oh, my God, that's such a good question. Follow-up question. I'm going to have to message that mom. This I thought was kind of funny because my husband can never find anything. My husband is horrible for misplacing his keys and sunglasses. I found his sunglasses in the shower tonight.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I guess maybe he forgot them on top of his head is what I was thinking.
Yeah. Sure.
Here's another boot one. Chicken and fries in a snow boot from a year before.
Oh, well, like a squirrel storing up for winter.
Right? I guess these kids love snow boots. This one tops the cake, okay?
Okay.
Let me know what you think you would do, because I don't know what I would do. A hearing aid.
Lose my shit.
Yeah. A hearing aid in my bed. No one in my home owns one.
That is creepy as fuck.
I read that.
Burn the house down. No longer reside there.
I read that and I was just like, what? I need more information. That is disgusting. I think I would just rip all my sheets and bedding. And I don't know what I would do.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of freaky.
Did the kid find a
bed?
Hearing aid at the park?
Oh, God, I hope so. That's the only thing that would let me sleep at night is telling myself that. And then lastly, to lighten things up after that one, a raw egg in my daughter's purse. She thought she could hatch a baby chicken.
Aw, that one's cute, though. I'm sure it wasn't cute to clean up, but...
So that was fun. That was a lot of fun to do. But no, so... on a serious note, my week, I had tons of stuff listed and I was going to talk about, but just recently, something literally right before you came over was brought to my attention.
Oh, boy.
I debated on whether or not sharing this, but I feel like I should because, I've thought about this before, but thought that I wouldn't have to entertain this with my children for until they were in their teenage years.
I'm a little curious.
But unfortunately, I've had to address this issue with my 6-year-old. Oh. So
the younger one.
So they're innocent. I mean, in a disclosure, I don't really think at 6, you're testing boundaries, but I
Right.
feel like these boundaries are getting tested earlier and earlier because of social media and videos and whichever, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't really remember when I was 6 what I was exactly doing,
Mm-hmm.
but it was brought to my attention
Oh, boy.
that my 6-year-old took a picture of his penis on a friend's iPad. Silence.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
No. Silence.
Oh, gosh.
My mouth just dropped to the ground. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh my God.
Yes. And now, mind you, for the past year, my little one has definitely been like, what's that, mommy? Why don't you have a penis? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
So he's definitely like just learning about it and just like asking more questions and just trying to understand the whole thing.
Right.
So in his defense, he doesn't know the power of the penis.
He doesn't know the power of the penis pic.
Definitely not.
Oh my God.
So, you know, and it's funny because it's so weird that this just happened, because a week ago I was reading an article about how to talk to your kids and when to talk to your kids about social media, because my kids don't have like a Facebook or anything like that just yet.
Right.
So like I felt like, all right, I don't have to worry about this right now. And that's exactly how I felt after I read the article. And then this freaking happens. But the article explained how, like, when your kids finally get a Facebook or whatever it is, Instagram, Twitter, whatever they want, whatever's going to be popular at their teenage years.
Probably something that's not even out yet.
Exactly, which is typically around when they're teenagers, from what this article kind of gave, is to try to explain to them that social media will follow you around. And, like, something that you do now could really harm you when you're, you know, like, 25 trying to get a job.
I can't imagine being a kid in this age, like, especially like a high school, middle school age child.
I'd be screwed.
Oh my God, yes, because I came up just like in the age of, you know, AOL and IM.
That's what we
chat
had. We had
rooms,
instant messenger.
and
That was our biggest thing.
So social media, I feel like, I don't know if I would have survived it.
Nope. And, you know, it definitely, like, the article that I read definitely tries to instill with these kids, like, the power of your words and what you post and all that. Right. And which brought me to the idea, which I've always had in my head. I just don't know when to do it.
I know exactly what you're going to say, because I just, like, 3 seconds prior to you saying the idea, I was like, oh yeah, that thing.
Yep. The toothpaste.
The toothpaste.
Yeah. I love it. I think it's
I do.
so
Yes.
great how you give the child a tube of toothpaste, and then you ask them to get all the toothpaste out on a plate. And then when they're done emptying the tube of toothpaste, you ask them to then put it back in. And then they look at you and they say, well, I can't. And that's when you metaphorically, really nicely explain
exactly
you know, how
what comes out of your mouth cannot be put back in.
Exactly.
Cannot be unheard.
Exactly. And they need to learn that the power of their words and what their words can actually do. And, you know, someone had wrote earlier on, I forgot where I was reading this, but that you'll remember this plate of toothpaste for the rest of your life, and that your words have the power of life and death. And as you go into, you know, adolescence and as you get older, you see just how much the weight of your words can carry. And, you know, I'm hoping... Now I'm thinking, like, should I do this now?
Right,
should I do this like at the beginning of every school year? I was thinking maybe doing this now.
I was originally thinking, like, when they got older, but I feel like Logan, like, actually just thinking about it right now, I feel like Logan could at this age benefit from hearing it, because I feel like he's not necessarily, like, when he's in school, I don't think he's necessarily, you know, mean to kids in school, but I mean, I remember last year there was an instance with a new kid, and what he thought.
You talked about
I think
this.
I did talk about
this.
this. Like,
I remember.
I think he was perceiving as, like, he was trying to include the kid in with whatever him and his friends were doing, the kid didn't know like their inside jokes and like really what they were, you know, getting at per se. And he took it more like a personal thing that they were making fun of him. Whereas I think they were more like, you know, like, no, we were trying to include you. But so, and even at home, I feel like the way he kind of talks to just me and Ed and his sister, he could benefit from realizing the whole point of the story.
Bring it back.
Exactly. Yeah.
So overall, this was a wake-up call for me. And again, he was totally innocent. And I mean, and the friends, thank God they're really close friends and they know it was innocent. And it's just, I'm glad they did tell me, so this way I can relay this to him and let him know this is not cool, you know? And I feel like it opened up a book for us that, you know, I always have the conversation with my kids about their private parts. They know what's private and what's not to share. Like, I constantly ask them all that and who should touch and who shouldn't touch and things like that. But this, I feel like, just is a little bit of an eye-opener to, like, it's never too young. You know what I mean? Like, I think I recently talked about, like, even, like, drugs and alcohol. You know what I mean? Like, when is too young and when is too old? Like, I know I recently brought it up with my kids about a year ago with, like, the gummies and the candies that could be drugged and stuff like that. And I, like, brushed up on it with them. They don't really know what drugs are, per se. But I kind of, like, hinted that, you know, poisonous or something like that, you know. And I just, the more and more our world, you know, grows and our children watch this shit, I just definitely feel like there's never too young of an age to talk about something. And I feel like that's the motive I'm going with for now on. Because for a while, I'm always like, nah, they're too young for that. No, they're too young for that conversation. But now I'm just like, no. I'm just... If I feel like I should talk about it, I'm going to talk about it with them, even if they don't understand. Because one day soon, they will. And maybe they'll rethink what they do.
Right.
Hoping.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
So, Christina, what's going on, girl?
You know, living the dream. Okay, so last week, kind of to brush up on what I was saying, that... we had gone away for an adult, again, I was going to fucking say adult-free weekend, kid-free weekend. We went away. We're
going to have to try one of these adult-free weekends.
Exactly.
We do.
So Aria had went to her friend's house, and she was there for like 4 nights. Like, she was just never wanting to come home. And anyway, so she finally came back home. She was ready to come back home. And
she's ready to deal with you.
She was ready to see us again. So anyway, so Ed had picked her up. I was working. So by the time I got home that night, she was already home for a little while. I walk in. She's laying on the couch with Ed. Just, you know, they were watching TV or movie or whatever they were doing. And she was like, jumping all up and down, all excited to see me. And I missed you, and giving me hugs and kisses and telling me about her week. And then I saw, it was like, I just like saw like the light bulb go off in her head. And she was like, oh, Mom, you're the one I give my list of grievances to. Okay, well, I have, I got a lot of itches. I got a lot of spots on me that are really, she's like pointing out every fucking mosquito bite that she got on her camping trip. And now, of course, they're they're just killing her. She's dying. And then she's fucking...
Just all of a sudden.
And then she starts fucking sneezing. She can't stop sneezing.
She's allergic to you.
And she's sneezing. She can barely breathe. The bug bites. And oh my God. And I fell and I scraped this. And
meanwhile, she was just like, laying down nice
like,
with Ed.
She almost can't breathe. And
oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
are you fucking allergic to me? Like,
yes.
What the actual fuck? You were just perfectly fine. And now you're almost having like an asthma attack. You can't you can't breathe, to the fact you're scratching your skin off. You're almost bleeding. Like, what the fuck? Why couldn't you tell any of this to your father? Like,
yes.
Why do you
as soon as he picked you up?
Why do they do that? Why do they freaking they hold it in for Mom?
Well,
Mom
you saw what Tim did tonight, right?
refresh my memory.
So that was amazing. So usually
yeah.
I put the kids to bed,
Uh-huh.
and I'm usually like, oh, mommy this, mommy that, mommy this. I'm like, oh, come here, tell me. Oh, talk to me. Da, 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 da. And Tim was just like,